Jason Rzucidlo reporting for AmericaJR.com. I'm being joined by Hollywood actor Nicholas Downs from the new movie Is It Just Me? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good. Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about what it was like putting this film together?
Well, I met JC, the director, writer, and Mike Amato, the producer, the first time on my casting. So I got called in by a casting agent, through my agent, my manager. The second set was a callback with a chemistry read, and then from there it happened really fast. I think within like 2 weeks we were shooting. It was a 12-day shoot, and I worked 10 days on it.
So since it was a 12-day shoot, was that the shortest time that you ever had to do a movie?
No, I've the shortest time probably for a lead film, feature. I've done other parts on Pearl Harbor and Constantine and The Girl Next Door, and I worked on The Holiday. So the most I've ever worked on those are probably somewhere between 2 days to 2 weeks. So Pearl Harbor was, but it was off and on. This was much more involved. But as far as a lead role, it was a very quick and aggressive shooting schedule.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about the plot of this movie?
Well, it's sort of it's a romantic comedy, sort of a Cyrano de Bergerac types. I always sort of equate it to, it's being equated to like A Truth About Cats and Dogs. I sort of think Roxanne, Steve Martin, Daryl Hannah, where it's a mistaken identity. My character is a writer, very much introverted, sees the glass in the world as the life is half empty. He writes a blog about romance and love, but has never had much love or success with the romance himself. And he meets the guy of his dreams online in an online chat room. Everything's going really well. He's thinking it's going to be perfect. But then sort of a third of the way through, he realizes that he's been chatting to this wonderful future husband type guy on his roommate's computer, which is really sort of the roommate's fault because he was on the computer and he had used my account. And so then I realized that, but in Blaine's world, and rather than actually dealing with it and calling him up and saying, oops, wrong account, I set myself up for failure. And I think that I'm actually going to be able to work it out by having my roommate pose as me for a while. And you saw the movie, so as you can tell, it didn't really go too well for a while there.
Was this your first time starring in a gay romantic comedy?
Yes. I played other gay roles before on television, and another film I did, but it was a very sort of slapstick kind of teen comedy. But this is the first romantic comedy gay lead that I've ever done.
Now, is that something you would like to do again?
Absolutely. There's always that thought in Hollywood to do or to not to do playing gay roles. I think that a little bit of that has left the sensibility of Hollywood for a while. I think about 5 years ago people were a little afraid of it, but now it's kind of becoming the thing to do. I have guys in my acting class that are like, I want to play a gay role, So I guess it's becoming kind of like a thing to do. But for me, it's always about the role. If I had a mediocre kind of not so good straight role or a really amazing, well-written gay role, I would do the part that's good. And that's how I'll always want to judge it and how I'll always approach parts and roles is by what's good.
Now, I looked you up on IMDb, and I noticed you got some other films coming out. Can you talk a little bit about what those are?
Sure. There's one right now that's running. It's called 16 to Life, which is actually a romantic comedy, but I play a small-town cop in that. It's sort of a supporting role in that film. That one's doing the festival circuits right now. It's going to be playing in Miami. It's going to be playing in Toronto, in Los Angeles. And it's got foreign distribution right now, but not domestic. But it does have a Canadian theatrical with its foreign, so that's kind of cool. And then I have another movie that I did called The Apocalypse According to Doris, which I shot around the same time as Is It Just Me, but that hasn't come out yet. It's being posted out still. It's being in the editing process, sound mixing, and all of that. And then I have a few other projects that I'm attached to. One's called Prep School, one's called Pure Shooter, and the other one is called Popcorn Ceiling. And so they're all my P films. No, I'm kidding. They all start with P. But they're all kind of a range of dramas to another one's a romantic comedy, but it's more of a supporting role. Yeah.
Now, what would be your advice to someone who may be graduating in film or media arts and they might be looking for their first job?
In acting or just in filmmaking, or what do you? Both. I just think it's, for me, I'm from Iowa originally, so I started out, I did a lot of local work there, I got a lot of good experience, I did some regional commercials, did corporate videos, industrial videos, anything I could just to get my feet wet. I had a good opportunity because a film came to Iowa called Harvest of Fire, and I got to be a featured extra in that movie. But I met the director, and I think it's about being proactive. It's about sticking your neck out. It's about taking chances. So I just went up and started talking to the director, and we became friends. And then after that, he was very instrumental in getting me to move to Los Angeles. But I also think that you can do a certain amount locally and get your feet wet, but eventually, in order to really immerse yourself in the business, you have to kind of take the plunge to a bigger city, whether it be Chicago or San Francisco or even bigger, LA, New York.
Anything else to mention about the film while we're still here?
Well, it's going to be playing again tomorrow night at the Burton Theater, which is on Cass down by Martin Luther King. The Burton Theater was an old Burton Theater High School that they converted into a really cool artsy theater. So it's going to be playing there again tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And then it's going to be doing a lot more on the festival circuit. It's going to be going to Zurich and Boston and Philadelphia and Northern California. And there's like about 5 or 6 other film festivals that it's up for. It's also going to be playing in Miami. So keep an eye out for it. And there's a website. isitjustmethemovie.com, which is always updated. It's updated daily with all the different happenings and screenings and then the future possibilities of distribution.
Very good. Thanks a lot. It was nice speaking with you today.
Nice to speak with you too.
Thank you.